I think yesterday or the other day you were talking about the people waiting at the doctor's waiting room, and especially at the dentist, and that they get nervous, and you can see how nervous they are. And I was just asking myself, I wouldn't really know how not to get nervous there. You know, this is just, I can so see it, sitting there and awaiting the pain that the body will have to endure. And you were also talking about the Neo-Advaita circles, just, you know, they say welcome it, you know, the feeling. I was saying to myself, I wouldn't know how to do any better. I would be like, okay, yes, welcome it, it's a bodily sensation. I feel still kind of...
If you think about it, why not tell yourself, well, we cross this bridge when we come to it. In the meantime, let's enjoy life. Because if you think always about the bad things that may happen in the future, you don't live the present moment, which is free from problem.
It's true. It's true. It makes sense. It seems to work when it's kind of far away or not. You know, I'm not thinking about anything that could happen, or whatever. But
only when you fly.
Yes, that's true. But it's getting better. I'm not thinking about that so much anymore. But you know, I've got an appointment with the dentist in January, and now that you mention it, it's still like, that's the one thing still bugging me, like, okay, I know it's not going to be a big thing, I know he can, you know, I don't know the English word, you know, give me the...
Anesthetize.
Exactly, but still, you know, it's I will be sitting there.
You're so young.
No, that's a wrong, that doesn't make it sound good. Like, a lot of things are ahead that make me even feel, what can I do with this?
But what I was mentioning is something else. Perhaps I should have said anything about the dentist. It's just, if you're caught somewhere where you cannot move, you have to be there, you don't know for how long. Many people, they cannot take the silence, you know, they cannot take the inactivity of being there. I mean, especially if the reviews, as I said, are all for female and they are 2 years old. You cannot even read, you see. If you don't have your cell phone to look at your email or whatever online and do some shopping on Amazon online in the meantime, you freak out. I mean, people freak out. And you can see their impatience in there. And what I said is that my teacher, whoever he was imperturbable. He was comfortable.
Yes, and that's of course the aim. I mean, what I long for, to be sitting there with complete ease. And
the path there is to kind of face the unpleasantness that arises. Because we are afraid of our fear. We are afraid of the feeling of unpleasantness, which in fact has something to teach us. But when you have a completely processed the feeling of unpleasantness, it leaves you with a great level of psychological comfort.
I think I didn't understand what you mean by process the level of unpleasantness.
Process by not trying to avoid it. Not trying to kill it, not trying to avoid it. Because the people reading or having all these movements or thinking, or they are, in a sense, they are avoiding the sense of lack. And for those of us who are truth lovers, somehow we don't feed any longer the sense of lack. But there are remnants, there are leftovers in the body. And that's what I meant by processing it. These leftovers have to be completely burned out, if you will, exhausted, to discover, to reveal the underlying plenitude. They remain as habits, but if we face them, if we don't escape them, then they will wear off their energy, and because we don't feed them any longer, then they will leave us in peace, which is different from someone who is in ignorance, who has never had a glimpse of their true nature, because for those it would be useless to do that, because they constantly fuel the cause of the unpleasantness. So for those, this approach would be useless. They have to go first to the root cause of it, get rid of the root cause, and then take care of the residual symptoms.
But then where's the difference to the Neo-Advaita approach you mentioned, where they just say,
which one?
Well, welcome it. You kind of said that's because what I get...
No, I was talking about the fear.
Yes, but if I'm sitting at the dentist and the fear comes and I'm getting nervous and I'm trying to ask myself, this has to teach me something. This is what I... Then I got it wrong.
No. If the fear can be traced back to the belief to be a separate entity, usually that's the origin. Here I'm talking of some residual unpleasantness, which is kind of vague and which is simply an escape of the emptiness. And if in the process of processing the unpleasantness, you discover fear, then you go up to the yes. You have to go up to the original sin. But if there is no more an original sin, then the agitation will come to an end by itself. So there are two kinds of agitation. If you will, one in which the belief to be separate is still active, and another one which is simply a form of habit. And it's for us to see which one we are talking about, which one applies in any specific situation. For instance, in order to process the agitation, we have to be already very clear that we are not a separate entity. You see what I mean? Otherwise, that doesn't work. So that's another way to differentiate between the two ways to approach a situation. If in a situation I believe to be a separate entity, to process the unpleasantness is not going to do it. But if I am clear, then I can process the unpleasantness. So that's what I was talking earlier on. It was more going to the root cause of the problem.